Welcome to the Proposal Circle at Swarm, at the Catalyst Swarm. Today we have Tim O'Brien from. Introduce yourself, Tim.
Yeah, my name's Tim O'Brien, and I proposed a no-code solution for Africa, which
Awesome.
is, yeah,
And we also have Aiden from PlayerMint, is it?
Yeah.
And we have Derek from the Pharo project, working title. Did I get it right? Excellent. And before the session, I asked you guys to provide a 30-second anything from some ideas about how to introduce your project. What do you got for us, Tim?
well, we have a trend in IT today. It's called no-code, and those who sort of follow enterprise software are very familiar with it. And the core idea is that we're lowering the bar on the technology requirements in order to be an entrepreneur, in order to build something. And this is perfect for blockchain because blockchain is a somewhat arcane and somewhat difficult to grasp. It takes quite a bit of an effort to grasp the technology. And I think it was really ideal for Africa because you have a variable educational levels, and but you have a very creative and industrious population. So our proposal is essentially to marry no code with the uh, the effort to provide services in Africa.
Great. And Aiden, can you give us your 30-second intro?
Of course. Yeah. So my name's Aiden Rankin Williams, and I'm part of a proposal called PlayerMint. Kind of what we're trying to do here is create a way in which gamers can kind of get paid to play video games through kind of their gameplay performance. So kind of what we can do is create these kind of cool prize pools of a fungible token called PMX, and then people can play video games and their stats kind of act as kind of aggregate together to create a leaderboard, and then that leaderboard gets distributed, that fungible token, based off of placement. And then once those gamers kind of have this cool social token, they can kind of interact with one another, send it between one another, use it for payments. But then the really cool thing that we want people to use them for is to interact with kind of an NFT marketplace. So enable people to mint their own NFTs and exchange them, provide royalties to them, and kind of increase, I guess you could say, kind of the content creators in the gaming space, increase their relation to their fans and kind of give them fun tools to play around with.
Is that for in-game items then?
So this will be for initially, it'll be you just have this tokens that kind of live outside of the game, and kind of this experience where when you pick up the controller, you're just enjoying the video game as you normally would, and when you put down the controller, you enjoy the token experience. But as the kind of project progresses, what we do want to do is create some sort of SDK so that we can integrate our protocol into something like Unreal Engine. So these game developers can come in and say, hey, I want to mint this sword into an NFT, and then this can become an in-game item that I'll attach a royalty to. So as it circulates the secondary market, I can make revenue off of that and give it unique properties that might have off-chain value.
All right. Let's circle back to Tim and let me ask a question about no code for Africa. Can you tell us maybe one or two of your top examples of what you see people building using the platform?
Yeah, sure. So our technology allows us to abstract the functionality or the capability of a application into components. So we can start by allowing something like, let's say, a simple payment with escrow. So we can obviously there can be many scenarios that require payment with escrow, and there can be many configurations around it. And you can take the full amount in escrow. You can the buyer and seller can both place in the escrow. Sometimes you use a mediator, but these rather than trying to make a one size fits all for payment with escrow, what we do is we come up with 4 components, and the user can drag these onto an artboard and connect them and create a highly customized solution, payment solution for their requirements. So that we consider like the layer 1 is like building these I would say elements. And now you now see, as we get a lot of mature applications, maybe you're building a store and you want a payment system. You may also want a place to store your tokens. You may want to ship it to some place where you may want to send your tokens to some place that's actually providing loans, so you can earn money on your float. You may want to integrate with something like the game, like a game like Aiden's game, and that could be a component as well. So you just so the next step is to connect all the mature protocols that exist on the blockchain, on the Cardano blockchain, so that you can mix and match them, basically drag them and connect them, and then create a larger application.
Nice. How'd you get into the space, Tim?
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I have about 20 years of experience working in enterprise software, and we started. This has always been sort of the dream to sort of allow someone who's maybe a domain expert to actually build software without having to go through the effort of passing off requirements to a dev team. And so I worked in an area called BPM, which is a business process modeling, for several years. And that, I think the technology wasn't quite mature. This was like 2005, 2006. So I kept in mind all the challenges and potential solutions in that technology. And I was working at Google in 2008, and I just, it was a kind of a combination of learning a lot of technologies, a lot of how technologies had progressed. And I saw that, even though this has been dreamed about for a long time, it's really possible now. So I dropped out of Google, took some venture capital, and created a company. And the company is, has about 30 man years developing the Q Modeler product.
And so the Q Modeler product is a product of your company. That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very nice. So you've been in doing this software development, you said, for 5 or 6 years?
I've been working on Q Modeler for about 3 years. Yeah. I moved to Vietnam, and we have a lot of challenges in Vietnam concerning like difficulty providing IT infrastructure because of the lack of a mature development resources here. So I started building this in Vietnam, and yeah, I have about 10 people, and we've been working about a little over 3 years on the product.
Very interesting. Why don't we switch to Quasar? Because we haven't heard from him hardly at all. Give us your intro, man.
Okay, great. My name is Quasar. On here, Derek in real life. I've been in insurance for 18 years. My proposal, one of the many proposals that I have, they're all insurance based. One is really focusing on bringing DeFi into Cardano through an automated market maker. But a twist on that is adding insurance to it to create an automatic cover maker where people can identify risk that they haven't quite, they didn't know that was there, and things that traditional insurance is not able to cover. So combining that with parametric insurance, it allows us to create a smart contract that triggers payments for claims or of investments to liquidity providers and paying out yields on crypto for any type of event that we can bring on chain.
Maybe a simple real world example would make things a little bit more clear. Got one of those?
Yes. A hurricane comes. Okay, so let me remove DeFi and the AMM side. Let's just start with parametric insurance. I buy a policy to cover me in case I have a financial burden, financial injury, because the hurricane comes. The hurricane comes, and as long as it's a category 1 through 5 and it's within 5, 15, 30, 60 miles of my house, it pays me automatically. I don't have to file a claim with an insurance company, so there's no property damage. This is an event that occurred. We know that there's going to be some financial damage, make you whole. You're going to, lose all of your groceries, whatever. So really, the parametric insurance side is paying out claims faster, not based on real damage, but understanding the financial injury or impact of an event.
Now, when we met earlier, you had talked about an example involving a wedding where, if a hurricane or even just rain shows up, that can represent a significant loss. Maybe not all of the costs associated with all the vendors connected to a wedding, but if you have to move your venue, that usually you forfeit your deposit on the original venue, and then you have to pay for a new venue. And I thought that was a really good accessible example. Do you have other examples of weather insurance?
Well, it really, the beautiful thing about parametric insurance is it could be smoke. So wildfires, that's a parametric product. Again, let's just use the wedding as a reference. Well, I don't know if you've watched the show Modern Family, but they have to move their wedding because of the wildfires in California. So ultimately, what I like to call is it's a combination of a natural event and a social event that is scheduled. One is scheduled, one is unscheduled. If they both happen, then the social event has to be, it's displaced and has to be rearranged. So it could be earthquake, could be flood, could be smoke, could be ice. I actually went to an insurance company and asked them to put together an insurance policy for people that traveled to Arizona for one of the last solar eclipses in case it was cloudy. And the insurance company was like, they were like, no, we're not even taking a chance. With blockchain and crypto, we can take that chance. Just because an insurance company is not willing to do it doesn't mean it doesn't need to be done, and doesn't mean that we can't do it.
Who's going to take that bet? I mean, it is essentially a betting situation, is it not?
It is, and that's one way to look at it. Who's going to take that bet? So let's look at the two players on an insurance table, so to speak. You've got people that buy insurance, and then the insurance company provides payout if a claim happens. Most of the time, the insurance companies don't lose money. So if we replace the insurance company with liquidity providers or people that have some assets sitting around, and they're not concerned about losing it all, then they can put it up there and take that bet, so to speak. They can say, you know what, I believe it's going to be sunny, and I believe this person is going to be there, and I believe there's going to be a solar eclipse. We know the solar eclipse is going to happen. We don't know if it's going to be sunny or cloudy. So, honestly, people are, once you spread the message, without it being betting and gambling, it's quite easy for people to say, you know what, I believe it will rain 2 inches today, or I know it will not. Yeah. So that's kind of the risk management side of the proposal, and how the introduction was really, it allows people to look at risk a little bit differently as a buyer and seller. I'm actually, by buying insurance, I'm selling my risk.
Mm.
And when you're on the other side of that coin, you say you're a liquidity provider. And I
You're
dropped a question in
buying.
here, and I would love to see other questions arrive about your project. And if there's questions about the other two projects, I'd love to see some of those show up. And maybe let's just take 30 seconds and jot some questions that we have about these projects.
Okay.
Are we going to be providing the answers on the call, or respond on the board?
I was thinking we could talk through them. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, sorry, I wrote mine down on a pad. Where do I find the board to write them down?
You're not following on the Miro board. I will get you a link.
I am on the Miro board, actually. Okay. Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I just sent it to you.
I will add, okay, yeah, I have it. I wasn't looking at it. I will add.
Tim, do you know, are you guest researcher, or what's your name on the Miro board, Miro?
Just as Tim.
All right, and we've got some questions together here. And Derek, did you have any questions that you didn't write down but you're curious?
I definitely have a lot of questions for Tim, and I'm looking at Q model right now, but I'll wait just a little bit because my questions are basically, tell me all about it.
All right. Well, why don't we start with some questions that are posted here. Here's an interesting one. No code smart contracts are hard. How are you pulling it off?
Yeah, that's a good question, and a good intro for me. So there have been many new no-code products like Bubble, Uncork, Mendex, all reached $2 billion valuations very quickly. So this is the new area for the unicorn. But when I look at their technology, I really see almost the same technology I was using 10 years ago. It's a movement that's not so much technology driven as it is driven by the need and by uh, like need for digitization, driving automation, and then the need for no code. But the technology hasn't really met the need. Where we come in is, so I started, as I mentioned, in 2018, and this was a time when no code, you hardly even heard about no code, and uh, started as Elon Musk would say, building from first principles, much like Cardano. So we built Turing complete visual languages, which are our languages. Our drag and drop languages are actually equivalent to a mature programming language like Java or Python.
So are you referring to
And
like Blockly there?
so we actually looked at Blockly, but we're not. I don't consider Blockly to be a mature technology. Actually, Blockly was something I worked with at Google, and it's designed to teach programming.
Hmm.
Uh, and but two problems you see with Blockly is, one, it supports code generation, and our technology uh, is, I mean, it's built for the blockchain. So we're trying not to, we're using formal verification to guarantee there are no bugs. And
What's really attractive about Blockly is that the things that it allows you to arrange are the things that are type compatible. And I get your criticism about it being fundamentally just a tool for code generation, but just for the context of viewers, that idea of being type compatible and being able to snap together only things that will functionally work together, that there's a lot of power in that, right?
that's awesome. There's an awesome amount of power. And that's one of the things where our products sort of took a very unique approach. And we use this technology called formal verification, which is to break down a program, create a state space, pull it back up, and then validate the different states uh, against against user requirements. So doing that real time is one of the unique aspects of our product. And what this means is that we can provide a guide for the user. So the user would drag out like order taken, and then there would be the requirements would be, if you take an order, you have to refund the money or you have to ship the product. So we can look at all our components, find out those components that ship the product or pay or refund money, and there may be many of them. And we have the requirements rules, which says that you can only refund once, or you can't refund and you can't ship the product. And then based on those rules, we can guide the user to which component to actually click together, which is more flexible than Blockly, which basically, in the sense that ours can be built off of user requirements, whereas Blockly, I think, is much harder to build. Is harder to meet a new use case, because you have to think through those different combinations, and as soon as you get either a component that can connect many ways with another component, or 15 or 20 components, then it's just too much effort for the user to drag to find the right piece. Then it becomes like one of these puzzle games where you have 100 pieces and aiming to
Yeah.
connect them.
It's no good it's no good for them to snap together if you have a hard time finding the right piece to fit in that
Finding the
slot.
right pieces. Yeah. So ours goes sort of beyond just finding the snapping pieces, but being able to find the pieces for the user.
Now, there's a question here somebody posted about how does that no-code environment compare to Marlowe? And if I were to put an answer on that based on what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's that Marlowe is very specifically about financial instruments, whereas your platform Cube Modeler is more general and provides kind of the same capabilities, but for much broader purposes.
Yeah, that's would be the number one thing I would mention. We actually work with some of the Marlowe team, Simon in particular, and we see that there's a good synergies here because we're both looking at layers. Marlowe has, the Haskell, then their language on top of Haskell, and then their Blockly. Whereas we start at the visual layer, and we have a visual layer for the highly technical individual, a layer for the person who's okay with technology but not a programmer, not highly technical. And then we have a layer for the business user who's knows no technology at all, doesn't know if-else statements, while statements. So we have three visual layers for three personas. And I think where Marlowe looks like they're coming to three coding layers for three levels of developers. So I think they can stack well on top of each other.
All right, very good. Let's switch focus again and zoom in on Aiden. And Aiden, would you like to talk about some of the questions that have been posted in your area here?
Of course, of course. So I guess the first one that I see is are these tokens connected to real world money? My response to that would kind of be it's connected to real world money in the same sense that the vast majority of other fungible tokens are, where the value behind it is generally based off of one, how hard it is to obtain, and two, what's its utility. So in terms of its connection towards the real world money, a lot of its value is going to be kind of engineered by what does it gain you access to. And so what it gains you access to is a free to play environment in which you can earn currency via your gameplay performance. That inherently might not create a lot of value within the currency, but then once you actually have that kind of distribution occur, it's all about where can people then go from there. And the first thing being that kind of NFT marketplace. So now you have this entire NFT suite that occurs on top of this fungible token that's all built around the gamer experience. And that's the launch product. And then as you take further steps, that access becomes greater and greater and greater as the protocol gets integrated into game engines themselves. And then it can act as the currency of those games, or the NFTs in those games can be minted on top of our protocol. And then you take it even more steps further and you start to see things like further decentralization of the system, where PlayerMint then becomes more of a DAO, and the fungible token PMX becomes a governance token where people can propose, okay, hey, let's integrate with the new Call of Duty, or hey, let's integrate with Minecraft or Skyrim or Halo or whatever game people are kind of interested in playing. Or hey, let's build an SDK over on the Unity engine. Or hey, let's go build out an integration on Twitch so that people can hold live auctions of NFTs on top of Twitch, and they can have their PlayerMint wallet associated with their Twitch account and issue transactions as easily as they send text messages. So in terms of the real world value, a lot of it comes from the access and utility of what you get once you hold that token.
Would you figure people would buy in with USD or other fiat, or do you see people more just earning your coin by playing the games?
So initially, I see a lot of the earning being the main mechanic in which people get the currency. because at that point you are providing this kind of new system in which people can earn a currency and then mint on top of it. When I see people starting to actually buy the currency because they see some sort of utility in it, would be once there's actually an established kind of user base and there's established NFT projects on top of it, because at that time there's kind of a reason to buy into the system. There is a established value behind the currency itself, and some people might have speculative value behind it. Some people might want to be able to get more of a fan creator engagement, because say for example we partner with a esports organization or something of the nature, they might want to be able to get more access into that esports organization through the partnership we do. So I'd say primarily earning to start, but once the system has some sort of established layer where there's NFTs and trades are conducting, and you have a Discord bot and you have a website, that's when I see people actually starting to purchase the currency itself.
All right. Very interesting. I'm looking at the clock and realizing we should move on to dig more into Quasar's project and look at the questions that we've found around it. Quasar, what questions do you see here that that you want to talk about?
I can hit all of them, I believe. I'm just going to go around the board.
Let's see how quickly we can
all
do
right.
that.
What Oracle solution could be used to ensure? Yeah. All right. So, yeah. How much time do we have? None.
Let's see how quickly.
Anyway, what Oracle solutions we could use? Chainlink. Okay. Ergo's putting up. Ergo is building Oracle pools. That's part of Cardano's ideas. So ultimately, we can decentralize the Oracle process itself, and people can build their own oracles, their social media oracles, web scraping tools, all types of different types of oracles. API 3 is one that I'm a fan of, seeing them start to build out. How can the proposal tackle insurance fraud? The Oracle itself, can tackle insurance fraud. The real question here is who's creating more fraud, buyers of insurance or insurance companies? How you're going to define fraud. Ultimately, a lot of people buy insurance expecting it to do something and it doesn't. So fraudulent thinking, so to speak. And how could the proposal take advantage and use Prism? Maybe not the specific proposal, but one of the things that I'm working on is a micro insurance company in Nigeria, and that would totally take it to ideally use Prism as the means and methods to purchase your insurance policies. I met in June of 2020 when they were doing the Atala Prism demo at minute 19. Denal says, and now Joe can go and buy insurance. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, that's great. That's not how it works in the real world. Let me email Denal and say, Joe's not going to buy insurance like that. What about the gig economy? What about people that don't have access to insurance? Unbanked, unfinanced, uninsured. It's really a really big problem. The other question, there's one about predictive markets like Augur. There's not a predictive one on Cardano yet, other than me. No, I'm kidding you. I don't see any. Predictive markets are really interesting. I'd love to explore Augur more. Predictive forecasting, all of that stuff's very interesting. And then if we go back to the AMM side of it, you've got your buyer, your cover buyers, and then the liquidity providers. What do we do they take the bet. Ultimately, they're becoming the insurance company or the reinsurance company. We take what they put into purchasing providing the liquidity, and we just basically blanket the market. So they're not going to lose the risk. We diversify what the liquidity that they're providing on one risk, but it's actually diversified through many risks. That way they're not losing anything. So that's our approach to protecting liquidity providers, and offering the best option for cover buyers.
All right, sweet. And to
So,
close out, what help are you looking for?
I'm not a programmer, so any of that is good. Graphic designing is really bad on my side. I'm looking for the tech people. I know the insurance industry. I know these unique risk transfer vehicles and everything. So I really need money and the resources for supporting a team.
All right, so funders and techies.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's classic, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, and Aiden, final thoughts and what help do you need?
Yeah, in terms of help, what I would love from a helping perspective is just if people are willing to kind of come in and kind of have the conversation about PlayerMint, is it worth someone's vote within the Catalyst program? And I would love to just have the help of people coming into our Discord server or messaging us on Twitter or whatever it is, just engaging with us, so we can kind of have an opportunity to share what we're trying to build so that they can have the most educated vote possible, whether that's yes or no, just making sure that they have the resources available for them to make the vote that they think is best.
Super, super. And Tim, bring us home.
All right. Yeah, so our proposal is actually to have dev centers in Africa be able to use our product at no cost. So we're looking, and we're partnered with WADA, but we're looking for different organizations in Africa that are interested in growing the educational system and the economic systems, and that might have an opportunity to offer a product to universities or to workspaces. So, and yeah, we appreciate anybody's vote, and anybody who's interested in voting or has questions or any engagement at all, they can reach us on Twitter, or they can email me at tobrien@qmodeler.net.
tobrien@qmodeler.net. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Aiden. Thanks,
Of course.
Derek. And we will return to
My pleasure.
the swarm. Thanks.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Not going to leave.